Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another TEC related content video. Now, if you saw the title and the thumbnail, you will know that I'm a liar, which is something that I'm infamous for. I'm a horrible person who lies all the time. Now, um, if you watched the draft analysis that I posted a little while ago, I'm recording this after my week 1 game, so all that's happened already. So I recorded my draft analysis. Well, what happened was I finished drafting, and the period of time between the draft ending and the start of grace period, I had like work, and I was so busy. I like did not have time to sit down and rework my team. So I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just roll with these guys for the rest of the season. So I recorded my draft analysis and all of that, and um, I kind of like sat back down after everything the dust had settled, and I was looking at my team again, and I was like, wow, this sucks. And it doesn't actually suck that bad. I'll read off the team here. Garchomp, Clefable, Heatran, Mega Venusaur, Crobat, Starmie, Hoopa Unbound, Frogadier, Beware, Rotom-Frost, and Snom. So Snom obviously is godly, but other than that, the team has a few problems that was I already had noticed them, but I didn't realize like how awful it was. Um, First of all, like we talked about having a way to patch up the ghost resist, or like being like we have double psychic, right? And the dark type is Hoopa, which is good. Hoopa is a serviceable dark type, but like, man, it clicks a button, and Hoopa, expecting Hoopa to do more than that when it already is pretty much the best button clicker. I mean, obviously, you can run some defensive sets, but realistically, when you have the option to click button with Hoopa, like, when are you not going to click button with Hoopa? You know what I mean? We also don't have a ground resist, which actually sucks, other than Snom. Um, but we don't have a ground resist. The other two things that are immune to ground are weak to rock, which is why bug types as a ground resist are awful objectively, and you should always have a grass that is, or you should always have a way to at least switch into the combination of Edgequake. Um, there are a couple other things, but for the most part, those are the two main issues I had. And looking at the team, it was bad. I DM'd a bunch of people that are better than me. So like I DM'd Prison, I DM'd Mav, I asked a few other people. Obviously, I asked the ICA and then our group chat, and I was kind of like, man, um, yeah, Mav had a lot to say about my team. I mean, he didn't. He said there were a lot of good things about it too, but he didn't comment on those because he said I obviously would know what my strengths are, which is true. We also don't have a bulky water, which is pretty funny. Kind of a lull W actually. I acknowledged it, but I was like, it's not that bad. But then looking at it now, it's like, yeah, that was pretty bad. That was kind of dumb. So because of that, the confidence that we had going into the season shattered, and we were like, all right, well, we got to fix some of these glaring problems. Thus, we made these 4 transactions. Now, I'm going to say off the top, this team is definitely better, especially after I showed other people. They're like, yeah, this team is definitely better. However, I'm a bit worried about a few things. Number one, I have a couple mods in here that I hate. Actually, I have one in particular that I really don't like. I've never used it, but I just hate it because it's bad, and I don't like it, which is a bit premature. But I also didn't like Skuntank before I used Skuntank, and now it's like one of my favorites. So hopefully it can change my mind. But the first big change that we're looking at is obviously a bulky water, and which means a couple things. It means Starmie has to go, but more importantly, there were not a lot of bulky waters left. There was like Mantine, there was like Jellicent, and all those suck because it makes my team more passive than it already was, which is a bit annoying. So we ended up having to bite a big bullet, and we needed to get rid of one of the problems and add another thing. So basically, we dropped Mega Venusaur for Megablastoise, and listen, Mega Venusaur is great, man. I love my love for Mega Venusaur cannot be quantified in words. Especially, actually, it did nothing this last game. It did actually. It stopped Terrakion, so it did. So anyway, but yeah, Mega Venusaur. It was on this team. It's a great mon on this team specifically. Being so Edgequake weak, and then having our grass like be unable to take ground hits resisted was a pretty big problem, and it obviously is a problem, and this clears up a few things. It gives me a somewhat bulky water. This is the mod that I don't like, by the way. I don't like Megablastoise. I'm not a fan of Megablastoise, but you know what? It's a new year. New year, same old me with just using Pokemon that I don't like. So hopefully entering this new year, Blastoise can change my mind and I can become a Blastoise fan. I know its job. It typically doesn't wall things forever. It typically doesn't break things like there's no tomorrow. It does a little bit of both. It lives a hit, hits what hits back. It has pretty solid speed. It also it doesn't let me lose the removal and rapid spin along with the flip turn Starmie had, which are both important to me that I wanted to keep. It also gives me another like offensive, especially offensive powerhouse. So if we like went down the line, we could look at Garchomp and this being like anterior parts of like the same thing. Like they're both offensive, but especially when it's more physically. Then you got like Hoopa in the middle. Hoopa didn't get dropped. Obviously, I'm not dropping my Hoopa, especially after that week 1 performance. Although I made all these transactions before week 1, so I played that first week knowing quite a few of these mons were gonna go away. So yeah, this is the first change. Rapid spin. Mega Launcher is pretty linear, but it's pretty cool. There's like 2 moves that benefit from Mega Launcher. I mean 3 technically, but I'm not using Terrain Pulse. I don't know if there's any more. If there are, they're probably not real moves. They're probably like not very good. But Water Pulse, and Dark Pulse are both solid. They're good. So yeah, that's the first transaction we make, and unfortunately, Mega Venusaur got hit with that Stone Edge a bit too hard, and it got sent to the Shadow Realm. Actually, it was a close call bet, but sent to the Shadow Realm. Next up, we have the Lycanroc. So, this is something I'm not 100% sold on. But Sun, who won like season 3 or something like that, Sun is a very good player. Obviously, like if you know Sun, he's the one that helped me rebuild my team. So I'm gonna take it from him. Gives me the speed tier gap now between 110 to 130, which is a little bit worrying, but everything between that kind of gets messed up by Lycanroc, so it's not too big of a deal, especially with Accelerock priority. I used this thing in season 3 or season 4 or something like that, and it was pretty darn good for me. I didn't really have a complaint with it. It always did what I needed it to do. The numbers are insane. Tough Claws obviously gives a boost, free life orb boost pretty much to everything that makes contact. Has a pretty solid, extensive move pool as well, along with priority, and it gives me another Rock Setter, which is pretty good. So now I have Chomp, Clef, Heatran, and this thing to set rocks for me, which is a pretty scary Rock Setter lineup, if I do say so myself. But we do indeed have to sacrifice the Starmie, which sucks, but it does mean that Blastoise has less problems, and it really needed to happen, I think. This is pretty much here for the Speed Tour, but it does also give me, like, come on, people don't really like to switch into Lycanroc, right? If you switch in something that can take it on and it Swords Dances up, then you have to deal with that problem, and then, you know, the biggest problem with Lycanroc is just the fact that it can only carry 4 moves. And 1 item, which is really the problem. And other than that, it's a very strong mon. Opens up Hoopa as well a little bit. So yeah, it's a very good mon. I don't hate it at all. It's going to keep the name Miwa. Miwa was the name we gave to the Starmie, but this fits way better. If you've seen GGK, then you know, like, Miwa's like personality doesn't fit her technique or whatever. She like has a spear around her that like she slices with her sword, like as soon as they enter the vicinity or something like that. I don't remember completely, but I remember liking her a lot. So I'm going to keep that name because it kind of fits. I'm going to defend this one. The next one made me cry a little bit because I made the transaction before week 1, so of course I was not aware of the week 1 results. But one of the things we had a problem with is we needed a better Spectre answer, a better Ghost answer. So we went ahead and picked up Regigigas, which means Beware had to die. It is very sad, and especially after its week 1 performance, it saved me the game. Like, Taunt Beware literally won the game for me. So that was pretty heartbreaking, especially knowing that it did so well. Beware did so well. Beware did well, Venusaur did well, and Starmie did well. All 3 of those, which came to week 1, and performed like as proudly as I the captain of the Munchlax United could ever hope for them to perform, except for Venusaur, which did its job technically. Um, but yeah, so we ended up having to drop Beware for Nanami, and I listen. I'm gonna defend this name, okay? And you can skip. You probably aren't watching this part, but if you are, don't skip this part. This is important for me being right, okay? Because I've been trashed a little bit for this name, and they're all wrong, and I'm gonna tell you exactly why. So if you look at Nanami in the show, he's kind of the same, right? He's like wearing a white suit, and he's got yellow hair and glasses. So like they kind of look the same, but where the resemblance is important is in the ability. So you'll remember like his curse technique is like the 3-7 binding. Basically, after a set amount of time, for a shorter period of time, he becomes like super strong, which is like the same thing as slow start, pretty much. You know what I mean? It's practically the same thing. So yeah, that's my rationale behind this name, and it's a good name, and I'm gonna stand by it. And then finally we have this. So we needed a grass type, and listen, I know, I had to drop Snom, and it's not personal. It just had to happen. So Snom basically okay, think of it like this, right? Snom was nicknamed Gojo, right? Because he's the strongest. But like in the show, he's like gone on business trips overseas for like half the entire world, right? That's when all the no spoilers. That's when like everything happens. Um, so just think of it as Snom is overseas. All right, I don't want to see any hate for this. Snom went willingly, okay, for the good of the Munchlax United team. So Tangela is going to be filling the role here as our grass type. It is obviously, as far as low tiers go, a very, very good low tier. Super strong on the physically defensive side. Gives me a regenerator core. Um, wait, do I have a regenerator core? Why do I feel like I have a regenerator core? I don't have a regenerator core. I don't know why I said that. I don't have a regenerator core, just so we're all aware. I literally don't have that. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, ignore me. But anyway, pretty decent mon. It shares a speed tier with Clefable, but it doesn't matter. Has pretty okay move pool. Like, it gets knockoff, which is cool. But yeah, it is here mainly to take on switching to grounds and rocks. Switching to Edgequake, which is a problem. Obviously, Earthquake and Stone Edge are two of the best moves in the entire game. So having this thing to take it on is very good. But yeah, those are all the transactions we made. We actually had to spend our transactions too because I didn't get a chance to rebuild during Grace. So we only have one transaction left. So maybe we'll use that later on down the line. Maybe we won't. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is going to be all I have for today. Goodbye. God bless and have a great day.